Who's in the mood for fall crafts? Well, apparently I am, because I have 8 of them for you today. I have 8 fall 2022 craft DIYs using Dollar Tree blanks that you can find in the store right now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started, and I can't wait to show you what I've come up with today. I'm Marie. Welcome to my channel. I am so glad that you're here today. First off, I'm going to be painting this rosette. Now, this came from Menards. This did not come from the Dollar Tree. So yes, we're using Dollar Tree items, but we're starting with this rosette from Menards, which was only $1.50. And we're going to take it and we're painting it Apple Barrel Harvest Orange. This is a new color that I found in the store. I don't know if it's new. It's new to me. And we're going to paint the entire piece in this Harvest Orange color. Once I get all of this painted, and I'm actually leaving some spots open, if you see there, I'm giving it kind of that rustic look. We're going to take some one-step crackle, and we're going to put the crackle in certain spots. I'm going to lay it heavier in some spots than others. I'm putting it all over the front and all over the sides. Now, it's really debatable as to whether you really need to do this, because I'm actually going to go in with wax, you're going to see, and I'm going to put the wax over it. Now, had I decided to do another paint color over it, I think it would have showed up better. But here it is the next day and it's dry, and I'm going to go in with the antiquing wax. So I do see in some of the areas where I laid the crackle on heavier that it is showing some dimension. So I am happy with it in that respect, because I just, after I did it, I'm like, I'm not even sure I needed to do this, but I do think it's given it a little bit of extra dimension. We're going to go around the beveled sides there and make sure we get all of that. Wipe it off with a cloth. I'm going to do all of the edges. Now, once it's done, I'm wiping it off. I'm not real crazy about it. Really, I'm not at all. So I'm thinking, why did I use the crackle? I don't know. I really didn't need to. But I've decided to use 220 sandpaper, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to sand off some of the areas, give it a little bit more of a weathered look. And I think that that's going to give me the look that I want. I am making sure I do all sides of this piece. I want this piece to be visible from every side, front and back. So I'm making sure to do all of the DIYing on all of the surfaces of this piece. Once you get done sanding this, you're going to go ahead and just take a cloth and wipe all of that away so that it's nice and clean. Now we're going to take a matte clear, this is like a clear coat. We're going to put it all over this because I do want to keep this and save it, and so I want it to have a nice finish on it to protect it. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to put that on, and then we'll let that dry. And we're putting it on all surfaces. So here's how it looks when it's done. And now I have this craft cinnamon stick. You can pick these up at Hobby Lobby is where I got mine. You can pick them up many places. We're going to take tacky glue, and we're going to take hot glue, because the tacky glue is going to help it hold for the long term, and the hot glue is going to help it hold immediately, because I'm putting it on top of this rosette. Now you can probably guess what I'm making now. It's going to be a little rosette pumpkin. All right, so I'm just going to add a little more glue around the sides, and then we're going to take some raffia that I got from the dollar store, and we're just going to take this raffia and we're going to wrap it around just like that with the hot glue. And then I also have this ribbon that came from the dollar store, also Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a ribbon, a little bow, and then we're going to take some jute twine, we're going to tie it in the middle, kind of tie it tight, and then I'm going to take it, snip it off, and then we're going to glue that right to the front, right where that raffia is in the middle there. Hot glue it on. Go ahead and trim the ends to where you want them. Now I have a big container of small silk, like silk style flowers that I've had for a long time, and I'm just going to take 3 of them, and I'm just going to take them and I'm going to hot glue them right in the center there to just finish this DIY off. And we have a really cute rosette pumpkin. I just think this is adorable, and I'm keeping this one. Okay, our first Dollar Tree blank is the pizza pans that they have. I've painted this pizza pan in Rust-Oleum linen white. I took it outside and spray painted it, both front and back. We're using the back side of this today, as you can see. Now I have these napkins. I think they're so pretty. I think I got them at Target, but I'm not for sure on that. I've separated them, and when I figure out just exactly where I want to put that, I'm going to take some glue, and I'm just going to spread that glue over the bottom half of this pizza pan. Once we get all of that done, and I'm sure I have enough on there, we're going to put the napkin on there. Now I'm not the greatest at this. You want to make sure you don't have any wrinkles, but you also want to make sure you don't tear the napkin. So it's a tricky thing to do, and I am not perfect at it. Now I'm going to take this Dollar Tree ribbon that I found. If you've seen this ribbon, it comes in a pack of, I think, 3 different styles. It's really pretty. If you find it there, you will definitely want to snatch it up if you like to do DIYs. So I'm using the hot glue, but it doesn't seem to be working all that well on this, so I am going to go in with the tacky glue here just to make sure that I've got this down and that it is going to be glued down properly. Now I'm using my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to trim away the excess napkin pieces here that I don't need. And it doesn't have to be an exact, perfect cut, because you'll see we're going to be doing something else around the edges. Okay, now that I have that done, mostly done, I'm going to just glue a couple more pieces here. I have some really pretty yarn. Now this yarn came from Hobby Lobby, and it is on the more expensive side. However, I have to say that I did use it for more than one DIY. I mean, I've used it for several DIYs. A couple of them are upcoming that you haven't seen yet. I think you can get it like 30% off too. Don't quote me on that, but I know you can get it on sale. And speaking of upcoming DIYs, I will be doing some Christmas and July DIYs. I will be doing some fall decorating, and definitely fall and Christmas shopping. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, you are definitely going to want to be, because there's going to be lots of fun home decor videos coming up in the second part of the year now. So what I'm doing with this is I'm taking a little popsicle stick, and I use this and I put the glue down to kind of tame those frayed edges, and that's what I'm doing here. And I'm using a lot of glue to kind of mold it into place, and I use the popsicle stick to help me do that. Now I'm using blue cotton by Apple Barrel, and I'm painting this galvanized metal thankful piece here. I've had this for a while, and I was wanting to paint it this color because I think this color goes nicely with the blue in the napkin. So after I decide where I want this, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue down. And you might be wondering why I'm doing the glue like this. It's because at this point I have completely run out of my paintbrushes, and that would have been much better. It would have been a little bit easier, and I would have used a little less glue. But I realized I needed to wash all my paintbrushes. So I'm putting this down, and then I actually am wiping away some of the glue right now. Okay, so far so good. I put some heavy things down on this, and so it seems to be drying okay. I actually think I'm going to leave it like this. It gives it kind of that little, kind of rustic style look. And I actually did a little bit more, to be honest, to give it more of that look. So rather than just a flat blue, I don't know, gives it a little dimension. I'm going to use these pretty leaves. These are from the Dollar Tree from last year. I still had these left over. Hopefully they'll get these back in again this year, but I'm going to go ahead and use these to embellish now. So I've pulled these apart and I've trimmed it down just a little bit, bent the end of it there to get it exactly where I want it, and I'm just going to glue it over that spot where the yarn comes together. And I've seen a lot of other things done like this. I kind of love this offset look to leaves or flowers or ribbon. Now you guys, have you seen these beautiful wood flowers at the Dollar Tree? Oh my gosh, when I saw these, I had to snap them up. I would get in there because if you want these at all, because I think they're going to be gone if you don't get them soon. They're so pretty, and I thought they would just make the nicest finish to this DIY. So the last thing that I did was I just took some more of that ribbon in the jute and I hot glued a little piece in the back that you can use to hang it. Okay, so I have these rosettes. These are from Iron Orchid Designs, and I just purchased these, so I'm going to use these for a fall DIY now. All right, so I'm using some air dry clay that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. It was really inexpensive. It was under $10, and I'm just putting the rosettes into the molds here. Look how pretty that is. Okay, this is another blank from the Dollar Tree in a square shape. So we're going to be using this. Obviously, I'm not going to be using the back because the back isn't done as well as the front. So I'll just be painting the front with this. And I will be using, what am I using? I need to see. There we go. Anita's craft paint in pumpkin. Now I have to tell you, I was not real happy with the Harvest Orange. It was brighter than I wanted. Not only that, but I had a hard time getting it off my brushes, and it would stain my place there where I was working a little bit. So I'm taking this and I put that on, and now I'm using a baby wipe to wipe some of it off to give it a little more dimension. We're just going to dry it a little bit there. Okay, now I have my rosettes. Oh, I'm telling you, I am so into rosettes lately. And I'm using Tite Bond, and I find that the Tite Bond works really well with the air dry clay. And I've actually let these set overnight. Actually, I may have let these set 2 nights before I came back to them to make sure they were completely dry. You want to make sure if you're going to put it on a flat surface like this that the back is as flat as you can get it. And now I'm just going to draw some little stems here so you can probably guess what I'm doing. Draw them in with the pencil, and then I'm going to go in with the burnt umber, and I'm going to paint the stems, and we're going to make little rosette pumpkins. Yes, rosette pumpkins seems to be the name of the game for me with fall DIYs this year, but I thought this was a really cute idea. You know, the rosettes are round. I thought they would make a great pumpkin. I also think they would make great, to use them to make like Christmas ornaments, whether on a piece of wood like this or actually to hang them on your tree. I think that would be a good idea. I'd like to remind you, if you're enjoying this video, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, like this video, make sure you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a video from me. Now I'm just taking some jute. I've made little bows and I'm just gluing those in place, trimming them up there. Okay, now I have these stencils and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about these in a few minutes. I got them clearanced. I'm just taking a little tiny piece of one of the foam brushes that I just clipped off with my scissors because I was running out of paintbrushes. I'm using the blue cotton on the little leaf there, And then I'm also using the plaster on the words. I also used the plaster on the rosettes themselves. I have this taped down so that it stays in place. And then we're just going to peel that back and voila! Okay, now we have a rectangle blank from the Dollar Tree. I'm using celery from Waverly, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint this all in the celery. We're going to paint both sides of it and the edges, which is what I'm doing right now. Once that is all dry, we're going to give it a second coat, so you're going to need to do 2 coats of this and let that dry. Okay, so I was so excited a couple months back. I was able to find these stencils at my local JoAnn's, and I look at how cheap they are. I got them clearanced. So happy to find these. These are real pretty signs and messages, and not only that, but on the back you can see they also have various leaves and they have various pumpkins. And so I thought this was a really great deal on clearance. I was so happy to find it. So I'm going to use this sign here because I think around the fall time and Thanksgiving we tend to start to realize our blessings and our thankfulness for our families, and so I thought I would use this sign here. I think that's very fitting. I'm using a stencil brush on this one, and I'm just dabbing the paint on. And I'm making sure, I think I taped this down. Yes, I did. I taped this down, even though you can't see it. I actually used Scotch tape, which did not take the paint off, so I was glad because I'm out of painter's tape. I need to get some more of that. And so I'm just dabbing this on all around, and then we're going to pull it off. And yes, I have a couple of spots up there. I'm going to take care of that. Don't worry. I will be covering those with the celery again. And then I'm just taking a couple of these little leaves here. Actually, I'm taking one stencil and using it twice. So once I was done with the front, I decided that I wanted to do the back because this is probably going to go on a tiered tray, which coincidentally, if you didn't know, if you're new to my channel, I do tiered tray DIYs. And I do tiered tray decorating. So some of these DIYs will end up going on my trays, and that's not going to be in this video. That will be in a future video. So again, if you want to subscribe to my channel and if you're interested in seeing that, you want to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss that. So I'm going ahead here and I'm adding in a couple more pumpkins. And so this sign will be nice because you will be able to see either from the front or from the back. It will be nicely finished. And then I'm just taking some raffia here. These are raffia bows, and I'm just gluing these on. I'm going to just play with them a little bit here and make sure I have them the right proportioned size for these pumpkins. And then I'm going to go ahead, once I get those, and hot glue them on. That one's giving me a little trouble in the front there, so I'm just gluing it down so that it stays where I want it to. All right, and there you have it. This is the cutest little sign, and I just love that I can take it and I can flip it over and I can use either side of it. It's really pretty and rustic. I love this color green. Okay, so we are getting away from the Dollar Tree blanks for a minute to do a little mini scoop. So I'm taking some jute twine and I'm going to tie this around, and I'm trying to figure out just exactly where I want to tie this because this scoop doesn't have a hole that I can loop through to make a little hanger, so I'm going to be making it myself, like just kind of winging it here and making my own. So I'm taking the jute and I'm just tying it in a knot. Now I'm trying to see how long I want to make my loop, so I cut it there. Now I'm taking some beads and I'm going to paint 2 of them in the pumpkin color. and then I'm going to paint one of them white. And this is just the folk art white, I think. That's what I have. So I'm going to loop these onto the jute. I'm going to alternate them. Put a little tape on the end of your jute. That will help it get on there more easily. And then I'm going to take the end of it and I'm going to tie it together tightly, and then I have a little hanger. So now I have this piece of jute that's showing here, and I've just taken some flour sack, I've glued it on the back there, and I'm just tying that on. I'm going to tie it, trim it up, and then you see that little polymer clay pumpkin pie? Isn't that adorable? I have that, and I have a Christmas one also that I purchased from an Etsy shop that I will link below for you. So I'm just going to take that and glue that there, and then this little fall DIY is all done. Okay, another really cute blank from the Dollar Tree. This one has a little jute hanger on it. It's finished nicely on both sides. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and again with our pumpkin, and I'm painting this. I'm not painting it, I'm covering it here, but I'm not covering it completely, but I am doing both sides. And I did do it very carefully because I didn't want to take the jute piece off. Now you could take the jute piece off and you could reattach it if you wanted to do that. I didn't want to do that, so I just painted carefully around it. And I have a few more blank spaces back here than I want. So I'm going to go in again with the pumpkin, and I'm just going to paint a little bit more here and cover it up just a little bit more than what I had before. Dry it up there. All right, we're going to take a bunch of raffia, right? Because I have a ton of it. So we're going to take a bunch of this, we're going to put it all together, and then I'm going to bend it, and I'm going to make a loop with it. And you're going to see that as I bend it and I make a loop with it, I'm going to tie it with some jute, and then after I tie one end of it with some jute, and I'm trying to figure out how long I want it to be so that it's long enough for this sign, or it's not too long, I'm going to go ahead and bend the other side of it there, and I'm going to do the same thing and tie it together, and then I'm going to trim the excess. Well, first I'm going to make sure my loops are even and that I have it all the way that it should be, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take my glue gun and I'm going to glue it right in the center. And after I get that glued right in the center where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and take a little black button that I have, and I'm going to glue that right in the center, and you have the cutest little small sign. Okay, so if you ever go into the Dollar Tree, in the craft section, you will see these ropes that are kind of attached together here. This actually is going to make a great pumpkin. So what we're doing is we're just going to take these and we're just going to kind of fan these out. And sometimes it can be a little temperamental, but just work with it and you will get your pumpkin shape. And there we have it. We have our pumpkin shape. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bunch of ribbon and things that I have on hand. Now I have that ticking ribbon. I can't remember where I got that, but I've actually cut it in half to give me more pieces. Some larger jute, some flour sack, and then that pretty blue one is from JoAnn's. Tie those all together. I'm going to use another little craft cinnamon stick for the top, glue that on, and then we're going to take all of these. Now I've made 2 of these, so I've made 2 of them and tied them with jute in the middle, and now I'm just trimming them to size so that they are the right size for this little pumpkin. Trim them all up there. And then you see that. So we're going to do that same thing to the second one here. And then we're just going to take these once we get all of those trimmed, and then I've got them I'm going to fan them out a little bit so that you can see all of the pieces a little bit better. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that onto the pumpkin. So I have two that I've made, and I'm going to glue it onto the pumpkin on both sides. So we're going to glue it on that side, obviously, and then we will go ahead and glue it on the other side also. And that's going to give us a nice full ribbon, like a rag style ribbon for our fall pumpkin. And there you go. So cute. Oh, I did add a little piece. Yeah, I did. I finished it with a little piece there because I felt like it just needed something. So again, that's lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree. Okay, our last Dollar Tree blank is this cute house. I thought this was so nice. Now you could use this for many different things. You could use Cricut designs on it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually dug into my scrapbook pile, and I'm going to make a little sign using some of my scrapbook paper. Now I'm just folding that to this so that it is the shape of the house, and then I'm using my X-Acto knife with a plate underneath it so I don't cut my table or cut my tablecloth. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. And once I get all of that cut out, we're going to just stick it inside of that little sign. All right, so I'm still trimming it up a little bit. I think we've got it right. I'm really just setting it in there. I don't really want to glue it in or anything because I may want to use that for Christmas time also. So I do like to reuse some of my blanks sometimes. So there we go. Now this is a really pretty gathering together embellishment, fall style. I'm going to take some paper, more scrapbook paper. I'm just going to rip it up. I'm just ripping it up until it looks the way I like it, giving it that torn look. And this one really is the easiest one, I think, unless you don't have an X-Acto knife, but I'm just taping it. I'm not even gluing it. And I have a little leaf that I cut out with my Cricut a while ago. I was going to use it for scrapbooking. All right, tape that on. We're just going to glue a little bow, and voila. We have the cutest little fall Thanksgiving sign. Have enjoyed my fall 2022 craft DIYs. I appreciate if you have made it this far in the video. If you have made it this far in the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, or even sharing this video with someone who you think would really love it. I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week.